Hey, everybody, welcome to Takeoff with John Clark. And please rate and review this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast and subscribe for free. And look, Philly, everybody's hurting in Philly with what happened to the Sixers. So we need a little perspective. We need a little context. Let's bring in former Sixer T.J. McConnell. T.J., we miss you here in Philly.
Miss you guys too, man. I'm sorry how the season ended, but, genuinely miss you guys, miss the city of Philly. Happy in Indiana though, but do miss you guys.
And look, we're going to talk about your career year, and not bad, the career you've made for yourself after not being allowed into Xfinity Live when you were playing for the Sixers at first.
I was hoping you weren't going to bring that up. Definitely an embarrassing moment for me for sure, but that's what makes Philly Philly. So, I paid the cover. If that's what people wanted to know. They wanted me to show a ticket, and obviously I didn't have one because I was playing, but it was funny. I get a good laugh out of it.
Well, look, I mean, it's a great story because they all know you now and what you've done. And as I said, we'll talk about your career year. Help us get through this in Philly because you have such a good perspective. You watched the series, I imagine, and you watched Game 7. How difficult was it to watch your former teammates that are still on the Sixers go down like that to the Hawks when you're the number one seed in the Eastern Conference? And this is kind of what the process was for, a moment like that.
Yeah, it was tough. I'm close with a lot of those guys and even a few on the staff. Just kind of felt for them, but at the same time, you got to give the Hawks a ton of credit. In the playoffs, if you get hot and kind of roll off that, and are confident in the way you're playing, I think that's what they're doing right now, and just came out and kind of willed their team to win. But it was tough, to see Joel and Ben and everyone that I'm close with kind of go down like that.
If I would have told you the Sixers would have the best home record in the Eastern Conference, number one seed, and then they lose 3 home games in a series to the Hawks, I mean, how stunning is that?
Yeah, if you told me that, I would be very surprised. I think the Wells Fargo Center is one of the hardest places to play in the NBA, and that's just the playoffs, man. It really is. It's no lead is ever safe. And it's not like in the playoffs you're playing bad teams. Every possession matters. But obviously very surprising that they lost the 3 games at Wells Fargo, but it seemed very loud nonetheless, and I wasn't surprised by that.
So watching the series, what do you think is the main reason why the Sixers lost in Game 7?
Honestly, to me, I just feel like Atlanta had an answer for everything. Philly would make a run, and Herter had a big night, and they just had an answer for everything. And that to me was the turning point. When they got up a few points, you would have liked to seen Philly extend that lead and kind of go from there. But Atlanta just never really went away, and that's the sign of a great team.
And was it a really, really bad sign when the Sixers lost Game 5 at home, that pivotal game when they had that 26-point lead?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that hurts, and you think back and you say, what if we closed them out? The series would have been differently. But I sound like a broken record. But that's the playoffs. Like I said, there is no lead that's safe, and you can't really look back and say, well, if we did this differently, if we did that differently, it just doesn't work like that.
And you talked about the playoffs, and you were there with the Sixers 2 years ago, that heartbreaking loss in Toronto where, I mean, 9 out of 10 times that ball may not go in, the Kawhi shot. Can you take us back to that and describe the pain you saw with Joel? You obviously saw the tears, the pain you saw from everybody, and maybe do you think the team is reliving that again here?
Yeah, I mean, that bounce, I think that will forever haunt me. And when I saw that, Yeah, I mean, there's just no way to describe it. You kind of look back, take a step back, and say, did that really just happen? Did we just lose like that? And it was difficult, and I didn't know if I was going to be back with the Sixers or not. And I feel like a lot of us thought we deserved, to win that game. And like I said, it was just kind of brutal to be honest with you.
Yeah, and this is really brutal too because you went through the process. You were there, your first season in the NBA, 10 wins, and it was like building to a moment where they're the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, and everybody in this city, the players, the coaches, Daryl Morey even said, we have NBA Finals aspirations. Is the process a failure, or what do you think the result of the process is now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a failure, because we went from winning 10 games, and even before that, just kind of being in mediocrity, not getting to the first round and losing, but being a bad bounce away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Raptors, and a game going differently in this round for the Sixers. But you get guys like Joel and Ben who are generational talents. I think that's what the process was all about, getting a core group of guys and having finals aspirations every year. I feel like that's what the process was all about.
2 years ago, you had Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy just seemed to have cojones. He would take that ball with the game on the line, and he didn't care about the consequences. Look, Joel is still young, 27. Ben is 24. You've got young guys. Tobias Harris, I believe, is 29. But it seemed to me that maybe the Hawks were bigger in the moment in the fourth quarter. How hard is it to become a closer or have that mentality in those huge pressure-packed moments when it's all on the line? And is there growth to be made in that area, do you think, with the Sixers?
Yeah, I mean, you saw what Trae Young was able to do. It takes a ton of confidence, and you have to have the ball in your hands and make the right play. And I feel like he did that with the Hawks. He was making the right play. He was hitting big time threes and getting in the lane and shooting his patent floater and then dropping it off to Clint Capella and finding shooters. So the way he was able to do that throughout the playoffs, not just that series, was incredible. But I feel like, there's always room for improvement with teams, you know what I'm saying? And growth and becoming a closer. I feel like with every team, you're gonna need that.
You talked about coming into the NBA as an undrafted player, and you had 10 wins. And then a couple of years later, boom, you're right there in the playoffs. Joel and Ben are playing. When you have that losing going on and it permeates through everything, you step on the court and you're probably thinking, well, I mean, the team really wants us to lose. That's the plan. How hard is it to get into a winning mentality from those years? And do you still have scars from it? And is there still residue, do you think, for everybody from it?
Yeah, it was obviously difficult, going into a game, knowing you're probably going to lose. We just didn't have enough. I feel like we had the most blown leads in the fourth quarter in the NBA. So it's not like we were getting blown out every night, but, we just didn't have enough to win enough games. And Brett, to me, did a really good job of keeping us together and keeping everyone engaged. And, we were having fun and it was tough losing, but I feel like it was valuable experience for me. Not everyone as a rookie gets to play a lot of minutes. And because we were going through what we were going through, I was able to get valuable experience in the league. And I'm thankful for that.
So I got to ask you about Ben Simmons, your former teammate. When you're watching what happened to him, especially later in the series with the Hawks, not attempting a field goal in the last 4 games of that series in the fourth quarter, what was going through your mind and your heart when you're seeing your former teammate go out there like that? And obviously there was something going on?
No, it's hard. I think he's receiving some unfair criticism, and could he have shot more? Yes, of course. But I feel like people are kind of just throwing it under the rug that he had 13 assists and did what he's done all year on the defensive end and held Trey to 5 for 23 from the field. And he can get 13 plus assists on a nightly basis. So he does other things. He makes his teammates better. He defends 1 through 5. And I just feel like people want him to shoot more, and he could shoot more. I think a lot of people could shoot more, but he coming out of college, did people expect him to average 28, 30 points a game? He gets people involved. That's what he does. He's a point guard, pass first point guard. That means he's going to pass the ball first, which he does. And he defends 1 through 5, and he does that better than almost anyone in the NBA.
That's true. Now, obviously what happened with the free throws, he's gone downhill in the 3 playoffs over the years. And this was, one of the worst in NBA history as far as playoffs go. How badly did you feel for him when he was at the line? He said it's mental. So it's now, something that's in his head.
Yeah, I obviously feel for him because I consider him a good friend, and he's a great teammate, and I've seen him step up to the line and shoot it with confidence. So I know that that's there. So like I said, I felt for him, but I've seen him go up to the line and knock him down, no problem. So I think we all have. So we all know it's there.
And I know he's a good friend. I just got a couple more questions about Ben because we're trying to wrap our heads around it because of how talented he is. When he passed up the open dunk there with 3 minutes left in the fourth, obviously, do you think that's going through his head? He doesn't want to get to the free throw line. I mean, how do you explain that situation where he was so apprehensive about being around the basket?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the play a couple of times and even saw what he said. Like I said before, he's a pass first guy, and obviously probably should have laid it in. But throughout a game, I think people don't realize like he felt like there was someone behind him, and if his shot got blocked and they go the other way, he found someone that was open and they went to the free throw line. I just think he was just doing his job. Like, and people can say he was scared to get fouled, but when you have to make a split decision like that in the moment, he felt like Matisse probably had a more open shot, and it kind of just didn't work out that way. And like I said, just receiving some unfair criticism about it.
And you saw him up close this year, and he averaged 20 points against you guys when he played you. Now, some of those games were without Joel Embiid, and Doc Rivers has said, I've told him sometimes you've got to be aggressive, and Joel tells him that, and then you see him be aggressive. How come you think sometimes he is aggressive offensively and other times he's not?
Well, that's what I love most about Ben. He lets the game come to him. He's not going to force anything and take bad shots. And someone of his caliber of a player, you would expect to force it and take bad shots, but he doesn't. He's looking for his teammates. He's trying to make his teammates better. And when he sees an open lane, he takes it. And I think that's what makes him really good.
All right. I know this might be a little uncomfortable. I'm going to just ask you, Brett Brown wanted Ben to shoot. Elton Brand wanted him to shoot. Brett even said, I want you to shoot 1 3 a game. And it never happened. We see Ben in warmups shooting jumpers, shooting threes. And how come you don't think he brings it into the games? How come we don't see him shooting a jumper in games?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, someone like myself, I don't shoot a ton of threes either. I think when I think about it, I could take threes when I'm open, or I can get someone a better shot, someone that shoots a 3 at a higher level. And I feel like that's how he thinks. He's always thinking about his teammates and how he can get them going and get them open shots to someone who hits threes at a high 30s, low 40s clip. And I feel like that's what he wants to do.
But would a mid-range jumper for him really help his game and help the team?
Yeah, absolutely. And I see him working on it. You've seen videos of it, and it's there. It's just about taking it, and it would open up the game so much for him. And I know he's going to work extremely hard this summer on it, and kind of take his game to the next level in that area.
You know, he talked a couple of years ago about hearing all the outside noise that's out there and trying to block it out. And we live in a social media world now. Sometimes it's really bad. It's really negative. It's toxic. Do you think that he can keep playing here in Philadelphia? It's a very tough environment here, passionate fan base, and they're really on him right now. Do you think that he can have the mental fortitude to continue to play here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the front office, so I can't really answer that. But I feel like Ben is very strong-minded. I mean, he came out and said he expected to be booed because he didn't think he showed up. I mean, that's just the kind of guy he is. He has high expectations for himself. And I know he's going to get in the gym and take his game to the next level. And I'm sure he would love to be back in Philadelphia. If I know Ben like I do, I'm sure he would love to be back.
And the one thing I think there's a misconception about it, perception is that sometimes when he's in his interviews, he seems a little aloof or kind of act like he doesn't care sometimes. Can you explain the Ben Simmons you know? Does he care a lot? I mean, he came over to America to try to become one of the best basketball players.
Yeah, I mean, the people that think that he doesn't care, I mean, they just quite obviously don't know him. That guy cares about basketball, his teammates, winning, the organization, more than anyone. And if people are saying he doesn't care, that could not be further from the truth.
For you, I know when you had the 10-win season coming into the NBA, Philly is a tough place to play, but you can win over Philly. How difficult was it for you at first in Philly? And then you won over this town. I mean, how passionate and how tough is it for a guy to play in Philly?
I think it took me like 2.5 years to win them over. And just by playing extremely hard and giving everything you have every night, that's what they love. That's what the city's all about. Blue collar, just getting after it. And when you do win them over, it's like the most rewarding thing. And it was. I enjoyed my 4 years playing there, and miss it. I do miss it.
Did you get into your head as well about that? Because you were playing your heart out. We can see that. And you're on a 10-win team. There's a lot of struggles. Did you have a lot of thoughts mentally about acceptance from the city, acceptance from the fans?
I'd be lying to you if I said no. Absolutely. You want to be well-liked, well received, and you want a fan base that's passionate to be behind you and want you to be out there. So that's why I stayed in the gym as much as I did and play as hard as I do. I mean, these people are paying for tickets, and if you're not giving effort, I just feel like you're doing them such a disservice.
So do you think that in a way, Philly, as tough as it is, it does toughen you and take you to another level mentally of fighting through things and working harder?
100%, because if you're not playing hard and you're playing like crap, they'll let you know about it, and you got to focus more and give more energy and just flat out play better. And I think it helped me grow as a player and focus more and on what I need to do better. And if I'm struggling one area in the game, they'll let you know about it. So I got to focus on being better in that area. So I think it actually really helped.
Do you think that this experience for Ben, I mean, maybe it's rock bottom. Do you think that this in the end will help strengthen him mentally and such?
I absolutely do. He's going to work like no one's seen him work this summer. He's going to get in the gym, and this is going to motivate him and to win the city. And I think, like we said, he's going to work extremely hard, and he's going to come back a better player, a more confident player, kind of prove the doubters wrong.
I was looking at your free throw percentages. First year, I think you shot 63%. Next year, 81%. What is it about free throws, and how much does it become mental?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you saw the 60%, and you see a few not fall, and then when you step up there, it's like you're almost like aiming it for it to go in, and then it just kind of falls apart at that point. But my biggest thing, it's all about reps. Just keep getting reps, keep building that confidence, and that's kind of what I do each day. I have a bad free throw shooting night, shoot 100 free throws the next day at practice, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of what I've done.
And I got to tell you, you're having a career year. I believe you led the NBA in steals per 100 possessions. Am I right?
I don't look that stuff up. I hope that would be awesome if you were right. Honestly, I got to thank my teammates and the coaching staff that we had, kind of empowering me to, take my defense to the next level and my game to the next level. I feel like I've always had a knack for getting steals, getting in the passing lanes, and but my teammates to help make all that possible.
And of course, you were the first Sixer ever to hit a triple double off the bench. That's very impressive. And then this year, you became the first player since Mookie Blaylock in '98 to have a triple double with points, steals, and assists, and the first to do it off the bench. Talk about your year and what you've made yourself into as an NBA player, undrafted out of college.
Yeah, like I said, all the credit needs to go to the coaching staff, the Pacers organization for giving me a chance, and my teammates, just kind of empowering me to take my game to the next level. I feel like my game really hasn't changed. I've improved in areas, but just playing super hard, getting my teammates involved, shooting when I'm open, and making things as difficult as possible for people when I'm on the defensive end. That's kind of what I've hung my hat on, and just tried to do that at the highest level. I think I did it for 4 years in Philly, and then I've had 2 great years in Indy. So I'm happy with where I'm at, but not satisfied. Going to keep working and getting better.
And you also set the NBA record. You have the NBA record for most steals and a half with 9. So that's impressive. 2 years ago, when it came across my ticker that you had signed with the Pacers, I was like, huh. I mean, did you think the Sixers would bring you back? Did you want to stay in Philly?
Yeah. I mean, my wife, she had a lot of friends there. I've met a lot of great people in Philly. Love the Sixers organization. And, it kind of just didn't work out. That's unfortunate. I would have loved to stay. But that's the business of the NBA. Kind of just, it's very rare someone stays at one spot unless you're a guy like Joel Embiid, or Ben Simmons, a generational type talent. But, I have nothing bad to say about the Sixers organization. Obviously, I have nothing bad to say about the fans. Loved playing in front of them, loved playing for the organization. And, I do think back and reminisce about the times we had going from the 10 wins to one bounce away from the Eastern Conference Finals. So it was a lot of fun.
And we obviously saw Joel Embiid after that loss crying the way he did, how much he cares. When you saw him play with a small lateral meniscus tear and you saw his growth this year, just how impressed were you with Joel and his growth becoming a runner-up MVP? Or if he had played, let me ask you this, if he had played, let's say 75 games or so, is he the MVP?
I mean, I'd say quite literally yes. If he played in more games, I feel like he would have had a way better shot, at being there at the end with the MVP. But that just shows you how good he is, that he was in contention for MVP and didn't play as many games as Jokic. But that's Joel. You saw his greatness from the moment he stepped on the floor in Philadelphia. And, I tell people this all the time. It's just he shouldn't be able to do the things that he does at his size. It's just remarkable to see him just continue to get better. And it's actually scary to see how much better he can get each year. Just such a dominant player. But that's Joel, to bring up your point about him playing through that. He wants to bring this city a championship so bad. And, he played on half a knee and was very close to doing that.
I look back and I always see that famous picture with you and Joel after you hit that big shot. Were you worried that like his hands, because they're so big, could actually like start to squeeze your neck so hard that you couldn't breathe? I mean, the picture's amazing.
No, it's one of my favorite pictures ever. That's just the type of friend and teammate Joel Embiid is. I hit that game winner against New York, and I feel like he was happier than I was. And, a little scared. I didn't know what he was going to do, but he's the greatest. I can't say enough good things about Joel, and, just incredible person and player and teammate.
Do you have it in your mind that the way the process started getting Joel and his competitiveness, that Joel is going to win a championship one day here for this city?
I sure hope so. I can't look into the future and guarantee that, but he keeps continuing to get better and better and better. I just feel like, he's right there each year. Hopefully, he and the Sixers can break through and bring a championship to the city. But I feel like he's just going to continue to get better, and we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
Do you have any great story that you remember from Joel or from Ben that would kind of show Philadelphia their competitiveness or what's really inside of them, what they're all about?
Not really one that sticks out, but I feel like you see their competitiveness on a daily basis, by the way they play, the energy they bring, how they can get the crowd involved. Just two of the great competitors, obviously in the organization, not only in the organization, but in the league. They want to win more than anything, and you can't ask for more when it comes to your main guys.
And I forget this year when you were playing the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey, when he was on the floor, did you guard him? I can't remember.
Yeah, I did. I think one of those games I had a lot of trouble guarding him, and I think he's going to be really, really good. He showed flashes of greatness this year in the playoffs as a rookie. He's incredibly smart. He's quick. He gets his teammates involved, knows when to take an open shot. I think they got a steal on that kid, and it's fun to play against him, but it's a joy to watch him as well. And he's only going to get better because I hear nothing but good things about him, and how incredibly hard he works as well. Well,
I mean, they said that about you here, and we're happy for you here in Philly, the career you've made for yourself. And that's cool that you said you kind of learned some things, mental toughness, going through the tough times of the process in the city of Philadelphia. So we appreciate the time, and we're happy for your success. Maybe one day soon, maybe next year, Sixers, Pacers in the playoffs. I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be, to kind of be an opposing player playing in Wells Fargo in the playoffs. I think it would be pretty fun. So we'll kind of see what happens.
Awesome. We appreciate the time, and thanks. I know I asked you some tough questions about Ben. It's good to hear a perspective from somebody that played with him. And I think everybody in Philly hopes that he gets into the gym and he works on those things. Because, man, I mean, if you can unlock that, he's so talented, his size and his skills, he can be one of the best in the game.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. And I think people are going to see a different Ben, and I know he's going to be in the gym every day, working incredibly hard. And, Doc said that they have a plan, and Ben's going to follow through with that and work incredibly hard. And I'm excited for the future for him.
All right. Well, best wishes to you, and congrats on your 5-month-old son. I mean, that's unbelievable. And and I wish you the best of success. Success, if I could say that word.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. It's been fun. So thanks again.
Thanks, TJ. Appreciate your time, man.